Hi everyone, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you had a great long weekend. Well, around the country in this short week, we have got a big low coming through with subtropical connections. We've got a windy, colder southerly towards the end of the week that is going nationwide. And then a big high from the Tasman is rolling our way around Sunday and the start of next week. So let's kick off with the Tuesday animated wind map, and we've put in there the air pressure. So low pressure is seen in this purple darker colouring, high pressure in the yellow. So look at the two distinct wind directions around New Zealand right now. There's a colder southerly coming right up around the South Island, while the North Island now has this subtropical north to northwesterly wind. What a change a day makes. So even though it was a very cold start, and we've got some cold nights still coming up, the days are actually warming up a little bit for a time as that wind flow comes down over the North Island. So enjoy your Tuesday. Now there's a fair bit of rain coming with that system coming through in the Tasman and the subtropical connections, and then the windy southwesterlies and southerlies afterwards. So the totals of rain are actually going to be higher for the North Island this time, and that is great news for those dry regions. They've been dry for much of the year. Now we're seeing some bigger totals up around the 30 to 60 millimetre mark for a big chunk of the North Island. And these areas you see in pink getting closer to 100 millimetres. So again, very positive news for those that need it. Perhaps not needed quite so much in the Taranaki, Nelson Ranges area. You've already had a fair bit of rain. And the eastern side's fairly dry though, just 5 or 10 millimetres for much of Canterbury and parts of Otago. And the eastern side of the North Island, you're also on the lower end of the scale, although a little bit more with that subtropical low. You might still be getting 20 up to 30 millimetres for those eastern areas. So that's the rainfall up until Saturday. Here is the snowfall map up until Friday, so one day shorter. And look at all the snow on the mountains once again. And we're talking 50 to 75 centimetres. So this is again a lot of snow. But just like, again, the weekend we just had, most of it is falling in the mountains and ranges. There were some dramatic news stories over the weekend by other outlets talking about snow. I think some people get confused that this map shows snow in mountains, not snow low down. When you see the pink going all the way to the coastal areas of the east, that's when you've got a snowstorm that's going to be affecting a lot of people. But when it's up in the mountains like that, it's really just a warning for those who are living at higher elevation, those who are above a few hundred meters and who work and play, I guess, up in these higher areas. So anyway, let's move through the week and see what is going on. So Wednesday, we've got our big subtropical low. Well, it's not really a subtropical low, it's got subtropical connections on one side of it, on this side of it. This side is the southerlies. So it moves through, it brings in that warmer wind, heavy rain coming through there for a time around the north, especially northern areas as it tracks across like that. The centre of the low coming in around Taranaki, and then on the other side, you've got rain coming back through again, and it's got that subtropical portion meeting up with that cold southerly. So that's the reason why you're seeing such big snowfall numbers in the mountains over the next couple of days. And it continues on because once that low moves through on Thursday, now we get the back end of it, the windy, cold southwesterly. So more rain back on the west coast, and that will fall as snow up in the mountains. Mostly dry around the eastern side. Not too cold on Thursday for the North Island, but it gets colder by the end of the day. And by the time we get to Friday, that dark blue line is back again. It's not quite as dramatic as it was this past weekend, but as you can see, it is going to be going right up across the country for northern places with a big cold southerly on Friday. So it's a wintry, windy, colder than average Friday coming up. We're getting a little more used to this now. And then by Saturday, it's still windy and showery across the country, but just like we saw this weekend, the sun starts to come back out again, and some areas will be dry and not too bad, depending where you are. The west coast dries back out again, Bay of Plenty, Gisborne, inland areas looking mostly sunny and dry. And then our final map for Sunday shows that cold blast moving away. It's right over the top of the Chatham Islands, but coming in behind it, a big high. And that big high is likely to be around for the start of field days, which is on next week at Mystery Creek and Waikato. So there we go, quite a lot going on this week. We'll keep you up to date. More news and information, maps, you can find at weatherwatch.co.nz and from our free app. And our next video will be on Wednesday.